if you are interested in dating romantically for the long term, and if gender matters to you, you better start learning how to ask the hard questions. And one of them being, were you biologically born male or female? Whatever floats your boat. Y'all, we are in a different time, okay? Transitioning and transgender decisions, they are happening and happening in real time. We're going to talk about it right here on our community. Welcome to our community, because turning pain into power is sexy. I'm Timmésha Burgess. Thank you for those of you who are subscribed here. Obviously, what I share resonates with you on a deeper level, and I'm happy to know it. For those of you who have not subscribed yet, what the hell are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Love me like you do. Love you like you do. That's not my song, but I love it so much. Anyway, go ahead, subscribe, okay? Like and share this video. We're going to get right into it. So, as you all know, I am a sensuality and sexuality educator. I recently attended a conference with the agency that I'm earning my certification through. I should have my certification in hand January 2024. Oh, I'm so excited. It's been such a long journey. But I just decided to get a certification because I wanted the icing on the cake, or the cherry on top, so to speak. But we're not going to get into all of that. Anyway, I attended a conference a couple of weeks ago. And in this conference, y'all, we had to sit through quite a bit of information, quite a bit of photos and videos, and had really open dialogue, transparent dialogue about sex and about sexuality. And we obviously discussed the roles of transgender in our society, or transgender folks in our society, and same-sex folks, and asexuality folks, and non-gender folks, and non-binary folks. I mean, you name it, we discussed it all and saw it all. We had to watch a plethora of very explicit content, which I won't get into here, but we had to watch a plethora of explicit content. But the one I want to talk about related to this video has to do with transgender folks. Now, we were watching this video, and it was an explicit video, and there was a partner couple who were enjoying time with each other, very intimate time with each other. And y'all, I'm looking at the video, and I'm looking at the guy in the video. I mean, thick, scruffy beard, tattooed body, toned, muscular, fit, bow-legged, hairy. Okay, just if you saw this person in public as a woman, biologically born female, I am biologically born woman, okay? But any typical woman seeing this person in public would be like, damn, he fine, right? Remember what Destiny's Child said? What was that song in the music video? They were looking at the guy, was like, oh, the song, what did she say in the video? Something about he was wearing corduroys, and I don't know if it's a song, but anyway, she said, boy, you breaking my focus, boy, you cute and you ballin', right? You break it. So if you saw this person in public as a woman, you would be like, damn. Hell, even some of my fellas would be like, damn, right? This person was gorgeous on a very masculine level. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this too, when this person took down their pants, they were all female. Okay, so aesthetically, they had gone through the transgender surgery and obviously taking hormones because they had hair all over their bodies. They had the thick beard, muscular, tattooed. I mean, pecs, just very biceps, all right. But when they took down their pants, they still had their vagina. They did not get that surgically altered in any way, shape, or form. And so I want to have this conversation because I want you all to know, as we evolve into sexuality and learning all about sexuality and sensuality, and learning about folks and their choices and their decisions and all that good stuff. I want you all to know how real, how very, very real this is. Okay. It is happening. It's, you know, it's taking on a life of its own, right? Because people are able to consent for themselves. Adults are able to consent for themselves what they want to aesthetically alter on their bodies. And I say, if gender matters to you, you better start learning how to ask the hard questions. And one of them being is, when you meet somebody you're romantically interested in, you've been getting to know each other for some time, you know, it's time to start having those deep conversations. One of the questions might want to be, these days, because we are in very different times, you might want to start asking if that person was biologically born male, because you don't want to wait to the moment you're deciding to be romantic or deciding to be intimate with one another sexually, and you're surprised, like in the crying game. The crying game, right? Remember the crying game? Oh boy, she looked like a female on the outside, but in the bedroom, it was a completely different story. So let me jump deeper into the conference. So y'all, I'm participating in the conference. You know, we're going back and forth. We're discussing what we're seeing. And so I raised my hand in the chat. Now, this is an online conference. There's people from all over the world at this conference, about 100 and something people participating. It's a very close-knit conference. Not anybody could participate. Only students could participate. And so I raised my hand to make a statement, to make a comment. And my comment was, this person was so gorgeous in this video. Okay, talking about the person that looked like a man, was so gorgeous just aesthetically that it makes me want to start asking people, you know, as I am deciding to date or romantically get to know somebody, it makes me want to start asking people if they're biologically born male or female. So one of the people that sit on the team of this of the educational institution that I'm going to, one of their team members say, and they happen to be, I believe, a non-binary person. I cannot remember what their pronouns are, okay? But he goes by she. And they said, well, it's up to the person to disclose whether or not they want to disclose that information. It's up to the person. It's their individual right to choose if they want to disclose to the person if they were biologically born, whatever. And I said, that may be so. And that is obviously true. It is up to the person to choose whether or not they want to disclose that. But what I'm saying is, when you are romantically getting involved with somebody, right? You've been talking for some time. You've been going out on dates. Emotions are getting involved. You may want to start learning when and how to ask that certain type of question. And while it is their right whether or not they want to disclose that or not, we have to remember that consent and individual rights is for everybody. So we want to consider that even though it is the person's right to disclose that or not, it also could potentially take away the person's right to choose if that works for them or not. For example, you ask somebody, are you biologically born male or female? And they refuse to answer your question because it's their right to disclose it or not. Doesn't that take your right to choose away if you're not giving all of the information to be able to make a conscious decision about what works for you or not? This is the picture that I painted. I say, yes, absolutely, it's the person's right to disclose that, but it's also the other person's right to choose whether or not that works for them or not. And the only way that they can make a conscious decision is if, when they ask the question, they are told the truth. I also brought up hate crimes, how people who don't disclose find themselves victims of hate crimes. Not that I'm condoning hate crimes, but I brought up hate crimes to shed light on the fact that these have been some people's lived experiences. They did not disclose whether or not they were biologically born female or male. They're about to get it on with somebody. It's in the heat of the moment. They pull down their pants and there's something else other than what the person thought they would be. And so the person reacts. So going back to the movie, The Crying Game, remember, he slapped the person. He slapped the man that went by she, okay? Because it was their natural reaction. Now, in day-to-day life, people's reaction have been a lot more severe because there was no disclosure, all right? There are 6 principles of sexual health, according to the World Health Organization, okay? 6 principles of sexual health. Consent, okay? Protection from STDs or STI, shared value, honesty, mutual pleasure, and non-exploitative, okay? So let's go back to the conference. So I brought the 6 principles up in the conference, right? People were so upset. Let me tell y'all, people tried to come for me at that conference because what I did was hold a mirror up, right? Not on purpose, but I realized that I acted as a mirror for some folks who have gone from one extreme to the next. There are so many people advocating for their right in sexuality, advocating for trans and advocating for the right to be accepted and valued. And while all of this is powerful and necessary, I found that some people have found themselves advocating so much that they've gone from one extreme to the next. Now there are certain people doing to others what they didn't want done to them. So when I brought up the fact that by a person choosing to not disclose, because again, one of the principles of sexual health is honesty, is truth. That includes disclosure, meaning if somebody asks you if you're biologically born one way or another, and they're asking you obviously because they want to, they're connected to you. They want to, maybe they're planning to have long term with you. You've been dating each other for a while. You're getting to know each other. You're romantically involved. You're falling in love. Emotions are developing. And if somebody asks you if you were biologically born male or female, they're asking you to be honest with them. They're asking you to be truthful with them. And by you not disclosing, even though it is your right to not disclose, but by you not disclosing, you are now taking away that person's right to choose. You are now taking away their freedom to choose by not being honest, because you're saying it's your right. Basically, you're saying it's your right not to be honest, right? Now, here's the advice I'll have for some of you who are deciding or will find yourself starting to ask these types of questions with people. You find yourself developing emotions. Well, I'm not saying when you meet somebody in the grocery store and they're asking for your number because they want to take you out on a date. I'm not saying you ask them right there at the grocery store in aisle 7. Were you biologically born male or female? I need to know this before we go out on a date. Obviously not. Let's use our common fucking sense here, people, right? Let's use our common sense here. Obviously, you know when the right time is to have this type of conversation, when to ask that type of question. In this day and age, if gender matters to you, it's very, very important that you ask this. But the people in the comments, oh my God, they tried to come for your girl. They tried to come for your girl. Towards the end of the conference, there was a portion where anybody who wanted to say anything, if they wanted to, have any closing remarks or, didn't get to say what you wanted to say, of course I raised my hand. And what I said was, I am surprised that this even became a debate. I'm surprised that this even became a debate if those of you who are in here are really living it like you're talking it. You're talking about the 6 principles of sexual health. You're talking about shared values and honesty and consent. But when I brought up shared values and honesty and consent for people who gender matters to, I don't know, over 20% of you got pissed off. So now I realize that this has become one-sided, right? Now I realize that some people are advocating for their beliefs in sexuality, so much so that they are now pushing in the shadows of sexual health or sexuality education. They're now pushing in the shadows people who gender matters to. They're now pushing in the shadows of sexuality people who consider themselves heterosexual. Okay? Now, there was one person who said, a person being attracted to somebody of the same sex has nothing to do. It's okay. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically what they were saying is that there is a genre that exists, okay, of people who may consider themselves heterosexual, but they're still attracted to the same sex sexually. And there are people who have sexual connections with folks of the same sex, but consider themselves heterosexual. There's a genre that exists. Don't ask me to explain that. This is just information that I am aware of that exists. Okay, you have to go and find those people and talk to them and ask them to break that down for you. I don't have the insight on all of that. Okay, but in my perspective, from my spiritual perspective, from my understanding, and understanding, I do know that everything exists. Everything exists and nothing can without its infinite and its powerful opposite. Okay. But I found that we're advocating so much for, open sexuality and asexuality and non-binary and same sex and non-gender conforming. And so all of these different pronouns and tronouns and phonouns. There's so many things that I can't even remember them all. And I teach it, right? I'm in my circle of competence of teaching, and I'm not trying to teach it all. It's not my thing. There are folks out there. If you're looking for that information, I'm sure you can find them. Okay. But advocating for all of that so much so that now we are stuffing in the shadows and condemning those who consider themselves heterosexual and condemning those who gender matters to. And so when I brought that up, I said, I cannot believe this even became a debate if we're all living by the 6 principles of sexual health that I hear us preaching, but I'm seeing a lot of you aren't really living it, right? And so I went on and said what I had to say, and I basically ended with, sexuality is an infinite buffet of stuff, many different ways of seeing and being and living. And just because I don't put a particular item on my plate from that buffet, it does not mean I'm anti that item, or I have a phobic, or I have a phobia, or I'm phobic of that item. I'm not anti or homophobic or transphobic, anything, just because I didn't put that particular item on my plate. Okay? And then some people came back trying to apologize, DMing me in my Instagram. Sorry, I jumped the gun on that. But what I said from the very beginning was very cut and clear. So it had nothing to do with what I said, but had everything to do with their lack of comprehension, had everything to do with their one-sidedness, so much so in sexuality that now you're pushing in the shadows and doing to the very people the very thing you didn't want done to you. So there were people who thanked me for what I said. There were some people who are following me now on LinkedIn and Instagram. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for your follows. Thank you for your likes. There were some people who secretly inboxed me saying, I always thought this myself, but I didn't want to say anything. I always, this was in the back of my mind. I'm so glad somebody said something. There are people who are afraid to speak their minds as it relates to people who gender matters to, people who consider themselves heterosexual, all right, who are feeling left out in the sexuality education conversation. And I'm telling you right now, I'm here and I'm not having it. This is supposed to be an inclusive environment. It doesn't mean that because you are non-binary, asexuality, non-pronoun, or whatever it is you want to call yourself, you don't get to take over an entire genre. You don't get to take over sexuality. You don't get to take over sensuality because you are pushing so much for your voice to be heard and for you to be valued. You don't get to do that. This is an inclusive environment where everybody gets to be involved, gets to be informed, gets to be educated, gets to be included in what works for them and what does not. And you do not have the right to attack anybody just because you really haven't done the work on or in yourself. To me, it was a reflection on those people who have refused to do the mental work and the emotional work on themselves and in themselves. So as I said before, and I'll say it again, if gender matters to you in a romantic sense, okay? As it relates to business, as it relates to collaborating, baby, come on, my LGBTQIA, whoever you are. Listen, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever you do in your bedroom, that's your prerogative. I can't tell you who to sock it to. It's your thing. Do what you want to do now. Oh, I can't tell you who to get a thing to, right? That's nobody's business who you're giving it to. I don't really give a damn. You want to collaborate? Let's do that. You want to go into business together? Let's do that. You want a vacation together? Let's do that. You want to go hang out and have some tea? Let's do that. You want to go hike in the woods, baby? Let's do that. We can do it all, right? But when it comes to romantic involvement, particularly for me, gender matters. I prefer the person who was born with a prostate, who still have their testes attached, and who is romantically and attracted to me, and it doesn't take a lot for them to get off. I'm more than enough. So anyway, as I said before, I'll say it again. If gender matters to you in a romantic sense, you're getting to know somebody, your emotions are getting involved, your feelings are getting involved. You found yourself really liking this person, really digging this person, okay? And maybe you're not necessarily trying to fall in love. Maybe you just want to have a thing, whatever floats your boat. If gender matters to you, learn to ask the hard question, and that is, were you biologically born male or female? And also let them know that whatever you decide to disclose, if you decide to disclose your truth with me, I will greatly appreciate it, as it will help me to decide what works for me as well. Let them know you're not standing from a place of judgment, but that you just want honesty and truth because it works for you and what you're looking for right now in the moment, or what you're looking for long term. No judgment, you just want honesty and truth. Remember, shared values, honesty, consent, disclosure, truthfulness, all of that is included in the 6 principles of sexual health. And if you care about your sexual health, then get educated on this information. Ask the question, stand firm in your conviction, and do what serves you, do what's right for you. And if that person does disclose and it doesn't align with what you're looking for, even in the moment or long term, be okay with letting them know that you think they're awesome and that you wish them the best. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you again for those of you who are subscribed here. If you're not, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. For those of you who are ready to turn your pain into power by activating your sexuality through the education of your sexuality, by activating your sensuality for your mental health, for your personal development, for your emotional intelligence, for your well-being, if you're ready to turn your pain into power mentally, physically, emotionally, through the education of your sensuality and sexuality and spirituality, then hit my Linktree link in the description box below, okay? Not this box, but the description box below, okay? You can find out everywhere that I am from my Linktree. Now listen, if it is not listed on my Linktree, it is not me, okay? So do not be scammed out here. There are a lot of doppelgangers and a lot of posers, all right? We already know that. So if it's not on my Linktree link, which is in my description box below, then it's not me. If you want to connect with me directly, get in contact with me directly, click the Linktree link in my description below. I am offering one-on-one personal development consulting sessions for those of you who are ready for this, okay? But you can find out all about it by clicking the link below. Also, get your copy of Activate. I wrote a book. Yeah, I wrote a book. I like to say a book that was written through me, from the ethers to the physical. I birthed it out and I brought it here for you. So listen, it's titled Activate, Unorthodox Philosophies that Explore Anxiety, Depression, and Suicidal Thoughts as Symptoms of Suppressed Superpower. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Get your copy, okay? I am developing an Activate book club. You can find out about it by clicking the Linktree link in my description box below. Click on the Patreon membership link that leads you to all of my articles, and you can join the Activate Book Club. I'd love to see you there. Get you some merch. Fear of Feminine Power is a mental disorder, as well as Pussy Power, Poose. I'm redefining the meaning of pussy power. Goodness, ladies. It's time we do away with these old beliefs we held about the idea of pussy power. It has nothing to do with putting it on nobody. It has nothing to do with putting it on Tyrone, but everything to do with awakening and activating yourself, your mission, and your purpose. It has everything to do with arousing yourself in more ways than one. And lastly, I am looking for sponsors. I'm looking for those who want to collaborate with me. I'm looking for sponsors. Those who, listen, you see my earrings? All right. Listen, this is me. This is my style. This is what I am. So I would love to bring in some sponsors, those of you who align with the mission here of Alchemynity, because turning pain into power is sexy. Beauty and jewelry sponsors. When I say beauty, email me. We'll talk about it. To inquire more, get more details about how you can become a sponsor here on Alchemynity, email me at timmeshaburgess@gmail.com. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next cast. Ciao for now.